is love, sweet love. That's what I want, some left for everyone. Peace and blessings, everyone. Let me see here real quick. I need to bring up a window for discussion. It is, excuse me, if y'all heard on a video, excuse me. All right. So our topics for this evening, we will start with something I forgot to mention when I was discussing Obama and this health plan, care, whatever. So I was reading this article dealing with concessions and deals and things of that nature. Starts out President Barack Obama's weekend concession on a health care government option drew complaints from liberals and scarce interest from Republicans and other critics on Monday, a fresh sign of the daunting challenge in finding middle ground in an increasingly partisan political struggle. Of course, it goes on, but right there in that first paragraph is the issue at hand. The middle ground and concessions. Constantly deals being made. If deals are constantly being made, you have opposition and you have those that oppose, and those are for. Is that just it? Simple. But what's the opposite? Opposition. The opposition. What's the opposite? Opposition. Allies. Those for and those against. Okay, so if they're constantly, because every issue is always a two-sided battle. It's amazing that no matter what the issue is, when you look at it, when you listen to whatever it is that's going through Congress or through the White House or through whoever, there's always two sides. It's always two people arguing. It's always two people arguing. How is that? How is that? How is it always two people arguing? Well, you know why? Because so much is about opinions and beliefs instead of truth, right? Because as we know, truth can't be argued nor be debated, right? And so thus, we have to ask ourselves what is really going on in our government if there's always debate going on. And you can't say, well, debate is good. Well, because there's constantly debate going on. It's good if it's bringing about something good, if it's bringing change. But is that what occurs in our government that's been going on for these however years been going on now? How old is the United States? Was it 1776, 300, whatever, some years, whatever, not 300. But how old the United States is. The same thing, right? I mean, it is generally held that it's too much bureaucracy, or that it's always bureaucracy and getting things done and it's slow to change. So that can't be a good thing, right? Or I guess it can. Well, what does the truth say? What does the truth dictate? Is it a good thing? And then necessarily not bad or good, but if we're saying that something is slow, that something is hindering the advancement, development of something, then that is generally held as being a negative. Just in the fact of inherently is holding something from advancing and becoming better or greater, right? So that truth is, the truth is things are being held back. I like to get into the labels good and bad, but the truth is things are being held back. The truth is we're not able to advance as we possibly could. So the truth is that it affects us in a negative manner in different ways that is manifested by way of people struggling, by people getting laid off, by all that. Okay, so these concessions. So if the concessions are consistently being made, then that means that something is being given up for the sake of something else. And so that could be a good thing is being given up. A good thing, a necessary thing is being given up because some other people are opposed. And so thus something bad is being brought in, or by way of not allowing something good in, bad is being allowed to exist in its place. And if we admit to the truth of that, of these constant debate and concessions, that it's not beneficial. Ultimately, it's not beneficial. That there's a more beneficial method, then we should be looking to adopt that method, right? Or our leaders should be telling us that's what should be occurring, but it's not happening. It's not happening. I don't want to get on here and Obama bash. I just want to get on here and truth elevate, or bash something. Bash something. You exalt. Truth exalt. But I work. Yeah. I tell you, it's a shame the amount that I read, and I can't, I can't talk in a manner that is indicative of my reading knowledge, my book knowledge, things of that nature. Can't recall all those big words. All right. So that's that on that. It's just, so something's not being done. Let's see. The government option has emerged as one of the most contentious elements of legislation taking shape in Congress, with critics saying it is a step toward a federal takeover of health care and supporters arguing that it is essential to create competition with private firms. Argue. What's the truth, people? What is the truth? I don't talk no more of that. Leave that alone. What else? Okay. Listen to this. All right. I have two situations. All right. Two situations which may call to question the right, if you will, the rightness, correctness, moral leadership, if you will, of partaking in this. For one is you know, I coach, well, some of you know, I coach basketball, right? I coach middle school basketball. So I'm coaching teenagers who are the age who are interested in partaking of this. And of course, we tell them not to. All right. Now, and am I a role model? For one, I have my kids, right? But I'm talking outside my kids, other people's kids, right? Am I a role model? And if I am, what is the model that I'm supposed to be upholding and putting forth towards them? Well, certainly doing drugs can be a good thing, right? And we can debate on whether or not this is drugs or not, but for argument's sake, all right, we get into argument of drugs or not. If a child came up to me, asked me if they should do drugs, or specifically, should they smoke marijuana, I would tell them no. Well, why is that, Mustafa? Well, just possibly because there's something that you should wait to do to make a decision on. It's best to be done when you are in appropriate age, when you are an adult. Just say because your mind, your brain is still developing, your intelligence, and you don't want to do anything to hinder that, and this can do that. I lost it. But I wouldn't tell them, I wouldn't bring it to them on the premise of good and bad. You shouldn't do it because it's bad. I mean, I wouldn't tell them anything. I don't care if they talk about hard drugs. Should they do crack? I wouldn't tell them not to do it because it's bad. You just concentrate on the truth of it, right? What's the truth? Truth is, from as far as I know, like crack messes up your body. Heroin, meth, that messes your body badly, and it puts you in some precarious situations where your desire and need for it overrules your love for your family. You do things like start stealing, things of that nature, and of course, just recently, like, what was this? Actually, this was in Ohio, right? Saw it on the Day Dead News website. Grown man killed his parents. He was on meth or something like that. And actually, like a year before, the same town, a mile away or so, same thing occurred, and I found out that might be some type of connection, that the two guys that killed their parents might have been junkies together, so you had that issue. But I couldn't get into the good and bad, as you know, because I don't like good and bad, and getting into that will make me a hypocrite. I can't get into good and bad or anything. I can only focus on the truth of any and all subjects. So thus, I would say I'm an adult, and I have this choice. And even children have a choice. Everyone has a choice, right? We are constantly told, well, it is hell even with the most popular religions, that our greatest gift from God is our free will, right? But is there a certain age that we are allowed to or supposed to be able to adequately and appropriately and with good knowledge employ that free will? We had the age of consents and things of that nature, 18s and stuff like that. And we had the next level of 21. But actually, I know I read something the other day where it says generally, well, we come to our maturity level and how we're going to think at like 15 or 16 or something like that. And I know girls usually mature quicker than boys, and so that's another issue. So when is somebody be allowed to express their free will? At what age? And so that's why I wouldn't tell them no as it is wrong or bad for you. Just focus on the truth. Just that it might be best to wait. And so if some of the parents happen to see this video that I coach, or the kids I coach, would they take issue? Would they just say, oh, Mustafa isn't fit to coach, he's a bad example for my child, he smokes weed. And I was thinking, well, how many of those would be hypocrites, Because there's so many out there that smoke weed. There's so many people out there that smoke weed. Parents be up in their room at night, smoke weed. But there'll be somebody. There'll be somebody who will come with the all high and mighty moral stance about the evils that I'm doing. But once again, what am I truly doing here? What am I doing here? What am I exhibiting by giving of myself and doing this on a video? Is it just for voyeur's sake? Just for doing it just to be seen? Just to bring attention and controversy, like it's done so much out there? Or is it necessary for me to do to stay in line with my message? My message of truth. Is it necessary for me to do this to stay in line with my message? And if I didn't do that, then in that action, that would be, in actuality, the bad example I would be setting for said parent's child. And I would be setting an example if I was not true to myself and true to what it is that I teach and preach. And so this may be necessary to that end. Some people say, the end doesn't justify the means, something like that. That's right? The means don't justify the end. The end don't justify the means. The means don't justify the end. The end don't justify the means. In the end, just because of the outcome, just because no matter how great the outcome, doesn't mean that you can take bad routes to get there. So in the end doesn't justify the means. And the means doesn't justify, so the end doesn't justify the means. But that can be debated, But for me, I feel that even with the chance of that happening, even with the chance of that situation occurring, right now I feel, and once again, I can't say if I'm right or wrong, but in my mind, in my consciousness, in my reality, as I perceive who I am, what I am, this world, and my place in it, I'm being true to myself, to you, to the world, in doing this. No matter what the backlash may be, I am being truth. Now, truth is, I could be making an excuse for myself, right? Just making up an excuse, and that could be the truth. And I am open to that. I am open to that truth. If it can be proven that I am only making an excuse, that I should be ashamed, then I'm open to that. If or that is something that's even beyond my consciousness, right? Could be problems within me, emotional problems, emotional issues, which I don't have control over, but we attempt to take control over our actions and things as we're going through moods. You can't control the initial onset of our emotions, right? We can only take control once we recognize that it's there, and the situation that might have brought us to that. And it's at that point that we ultimately have control. Because we really have little control over any functions of our bodies, right? We have so little control over this right here. I'm controlling this, but I'm not controlling what goes on inside this, right? And some things outside this right here, I can control when I focus on it, but I don't naturally control it. It controls itself. I control this, or even that can be debated, how much I control this. Once again, this, how I operate this, the words I speak, and my actions has a direct relation to what's inside here and how this is operating and all that entails. Right? The physical operation, having all the necessary connections and synapses and liquid balances and things of that nature, I can't control that, right? And then the psychological issues from wherever it may come, whatever that is, that psychology, the psychological aspect of this. How much control do we have of that? Of being crazy, being deranged. So, what do we have control over? Am I in actuality being controlled? This right here, me doing this, me speaking my beliefs, do I even have control over that? Or is my mind controlling everything, but I don't have control of my mind? Am I my mind? Are we our mind? Now, how much of a mind? Are we our brain? What are we? And if all I'm really doing is that I'm a being that's reacting to my environments, reacting to my existence, and I'm just reacting. And actually, that's all I could be doing. Maybe that's all we're doing. As much as we like to think we're so intelligent as human beings, we're so smart. We're so above, those animals over there. Are we any different, really? At the core of us, are we any different? Are we any different than anything that operates within our known universe? Everything is controlled by something, but we don't know what. We can monitor the operations and functions, and we can get scientific about it and saying how this smack came from this hitting this and these sound waves, but we don't know what makes sound waves really. We say, well, it's moving in the air, but as we break things down more and more, when we start getting to the micro, that's when we start getting lost in things and exactly why and how things operate. We can see how things operate together. Right? What they do when molecules come together, when atoms come together. We can see the after effects. We can see the after effects of things that are in existence being created. But if it's not there, we don't see it, we don't know. And we don't see our own mind. We can go off of watching human evolution, if there's such thing, or human advancement, off of human civilization, culture, actions, And that's what we do, right? We have people sit back and just examine us, examine why we do what we do. But when we get into those things, we start getting into that dark matter and dark energy, and we just get so lost, and we start changing our ideas and concepts, because ultimately we don't know what is in ultimate control behind all that is and all that may be. So if everything else in this world is thus under control of something else, something beyond what we are possibly able to truly grasp. We can think wonderful things. I mean, I can think powerful and wonderful things, and I can try to sit back and examine my existence, but how far can I really go? I can think about it, I can bring emotions and think about it, but is that far enough? Can I still get close to understanding the truth of all that is? Understanding the truth, knowing the truth. Can I ever get that? Can we ever get anywhere close to that? Can we? Or is this right here just the truth it is? But even in this, even if we want to say that this reality here is the truth, once again, we have to argue and debate about the validity of that, because of all the things that happen within this which we call the real that we don't know and understand. Just starting with this right here. This right here. That which we still have yet to figure out. And yet we want to say, well, this is reality, this is real. We're just so ignorant. And we lost it. And then another thing, and I'm still talking about my role model. Responsibilities, if you will. There's a young man. My oldest son has a friend, and it's been brought to my attention today that this friend of his, and I guess he's like 19 or so, same age as my son, that he has taking a looking up to me. He wants to observe how I am and learning from it, because he is looking up to me. He sees me as something to strive to be, whatever it is he sees in me. He sees something in me that he feels that he should work to achieve and attain also, whatever that may be. And so then we come back to this, right? If I get over here and I'm smoking this and I'm being nonsensical, right? I'm sounding stupid or looking stupid because my eyes are shut and I'm forgetting stuff. Is that something to look up to? Or would that matter? Or is that just one aspect that can be put aside? So, well, maybe not that. But he smokes too, so whatever. But in once again, trying to say about my issue, am I setting a bad example? But then again, we come to what is the ultimate goal of all examples that should be shown and put forth. It's truth, right? So once again, as long as I'm being true, I'm still giving him, even if it is bad, inappropriate, that is still something for him to learn from. If it's a mistake, then he can learn from my so-called mistakes.